what's up guys, and welcome to Vs2pcg Deck Forger, and this is another edition of our totally outrageous deck. And this time we're going to show you a very special main character from the Inhumans team. But before we go to that, of course, we'd like to give you our forecasting report for our ongoing Build Phase League Philippine Edition. So with Invisible Woman conceding 2 Outriders in the very first match of our 4th round of elimination, we are down to the last 2 pairs who are battling it out to whoever will enter the 4-slot semi-final round. And of course, later on tonight we're going to have Jessica Jones. Yes, Jessica Jones versus, of course, Magneto. And on the other table, we also have Warrant Officer Ripley versus Captain Marvel. So it's a very crucial match for Captain Marvel because, of course, if she loses to Warrant Officer Ripley, this may also lead to her knockout from ever getting into the semi-final round. With Jessica Jones versus Magneto, Magneto also needs to win against the Infinite Engine because, of course, it may also spell that Magneto will be knocked out from the semi-final round. So with Outriders, unleashed by Mr. Dan Sanyal de la Cruz, is already assured of a slot in the semifinals. With the consistent win of Warrant Officer Ripley and her Hide in Shadows deck, she is also assured now of entering the semifinal round. If, of course, Jessica Jones wins this match, she will already of course enter the semi-final rounds together with her Infinite Machine. So that is the forecast for our ongoing Build Phase League Philippine Edition. But for this particular episode, we are giving you the newest totally outrageous deck, and that is from courtesy of FHP Vs2pcg Philippines, and this is, of course, Stress Point. Stress Point actually has been around for at least a year now, but I think we last saw this particular deck around several months ago before the pandemic. And this time, the Shatterer himself, Karnak, is back with new sets of supporting characters and plot twists to shatter his opponent's deck from the game. So let's watch the succeeding video and find out how Karnak will be able to give you that library death win condition, although there's no library death in Vs2pcg with the new version of Stress Point. And so guys, welcome. This is Vs2pcg Deck Forger. So guys, once again we are here at our deck teching table, and we're going to show you a sample gameplay for the newest deck tech courtesy of Forge Hobby Plays and FHP Vs2pcg Philippines, and this is Stress Point. So let's try to open this demo deck box, which is our demo deck box from the last episode. And this time we're going to open and take a look at Stress Point. So Stress Points run on the Inhumans main character known as Karnak. So we'll try to give you a sample gameplay now so that you will know how Stress Point actually works and why it is called, of course, one of those totally outrageous deck for Vs2pcg Philippines. So, Stress Point. Let's try to take a look at this. So Stress Point makes use of Karnak as its main character, and Karnak is from the Inhumans. And at level 1, Karnak is a 3 attack for a 4 defense character with 6 health. And his first superpower is Perceive Stress Point, hence the name of the deck. So during the main phase, you may pay 1 yellow power symbol and choose a number 1 or higher. Enemy players can't recruit or play cards that cost that number until your next turn. So Karnak actually, with his superpower, is like a stall type of deck, and he enables you to prevent any possible drop from your opponent on the perceived number that you have declared. So for example, if you called out 3, then that player cannot play any character that costs 3, exactly 3. So it is any card, by the way, so that includes characters and also equipment. And his level up condition, and this is the flaw in all things, he only needs 3 XP to level up, and at the end of each enemy players will face, Karnak gains 1 XP if that player didn't spend all of their recruit points. So for example, again on the third turn, if let's say you called out Karnak's Perceived Stress Point, and you called out the number 3, and it is the third turn for your opponent, so they cannot drop any 3 cost characters, so they have to drop 2 or 1, and if there are any leftover recruit points, automatically you will gain an XP. So if you're able to achieve that needed 3 XP, then Karnak levels up and he becomes now a 5 attack, 7 defense character, again with 6 health. And this is where the fun begins. So the Shatterer, that is his second superpower. During the main phase, you may pay 1 red power symbol and choose an enemy player to split their deck in half. Remove 1 half from the game face down. So from 60 cards, it will now become 30 cards. And now you know how this deck will actually works. By the way, this is one of my special collector's card, and this is signed by Ben Chikowski and Danny Mandel themselves, the creators of Vs2pcg. So thank you very much, sir. And I had this shipped from abroad, and I'm not selling this, by the way, because this is one of my cherished collection for Vs2pcg. So now let's take a look, okay? Let's take a look at a sample gameplay for, of course, Stress Point. Okay, so let's try to shuffle so that we will have a very random draw. Okay, so I apologize for how slow I am in shuffling this deck, because of course my hands are a little bit dry during this time of the year. It's almost summer here in the Philippines. Actually, it's summer already, and it's so dry that even my skin goes dry, okay, together with the season. Okay, so still I have to really shuffle this so that I can give you, of course, a very good randomness, and you will know that nothing here is fixed or, of course, set up. And of course, I would like to show you how this deck actually will work in an actual tournament. And it will take some time, of course, bear with me. And of course, we'll try to give you as much a random possible draw to show you the consistency of this particular deck. So now that we have already shuffled it, and we will try to give you a good cut the same way that we do in the online tournament. So now we have 3, so let's say we start with 3, 1, and 2 this time. Okay, so we put Karnak in the front row and you try to draw 7 cards. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so those are 7 cards. So let's try to take a look at what you have. Okay, so this is a good draw. Why? Because of course you have some of the cards that you actually need. So first we have 1 copy of Timbuba, and you know what Timbuba can do. And you have 1 copy of Leviathan Demolisher, 2 copies of Academy, 1 copy of Training Ground, and at the same time you have Proteus, one of your 8 drops, and of course your Build a Better World. Okay, so let's try to take a look at this. Okay, it's okay if your opponent will go first because he can drop a 1 cost character and you can hit it with Timbuba in order to KO it. So it's okay, and the additional draw is very good for you. So no matter what, he goes first, he gets to attack, whatever. But again, you have to understand Karnak has 6 health, so it's no problem for you to be able to take those early attacks and get stunned in the process. Okay, so let's say you got stunned in the process. Okay, so this time we're going to try to simulate an actual tournament match. Okay, so let's say you got your first hit, then it's time for you to go to your first turn, then you draw 2 cards. Okay, so now you have, okay, sorry, it's okay if you also go first because then you can prevent him from dropping. So let's try to roll. Okay, I take even and I go first. Okay, so I don't just try to simulate removing this first. Okay, so you don't draw any card, so you play your Training Academy because that is your first superpower. Then you play Timbuba. So this time Timbuba will prevent any 1 cost character from being played in your opponent's side. So it's either you can attack, but I doubt it. Then it's your opponent's turn. That is his first turn. So after playing Timbuba, so now we are preventing our opponent from playing any 1 cost character. Okay, so this 1 cost character now will give you, okay, that needed 1 XP in order to level up during, okay, the end of his build phase. So let's say your opponent now goes to his main phase. Since he cannot drop any character, then he just has to go to the combat phase and attack. If you are stunned, no problem because again you have 6 health in order to survive your match. And if he has nothing else to do, then you go to your second turn. So we try to draw 2 cards. And with this 2 card, now we have a Lambert and a Training Ground. So very good draw for this particular event. And this time we're going to play our second Academy, and out comes the Leviathan Demolisher. So with the Demolisher, you are able to turn an enemy location face down, and at the same time you are able to penalize all characters on his side of the board with those -1/-1 counters. And take note, again, you can use your stress point. This time, pay 1 Academy and choose a number. So in this particular instance, it's going to his second turn, so you will choose the number 2. And remember, you have Timbuba in play, so by the time, okay, you end your turn and it's your opponent's turn, he cannot play any 1 cost character because of Timbuba, and he can play any 2 cost character because of Karnak's perceived stress point. So either you can attack if enabled, then no problem. If you cannot, then it's time for you to go to your next turn. Or what you can do here is, of course, you can arrange your formation in such a way that you can prevent any possible stun. Because by this time, of course, your opponent may be able to draw those pump plot twists. So yeah, you try to, as much as possible, prevent Karnak from being stunned and getting a wound. So you put Team Booba there in front, and also Demolisher, because of course Demolisher can just go out anytime. And Team Booba has 2 health, so he can survive 2 attacks before he gets KO'd. So, it's your opponent's turn. He can drop anything on his second turn because he cannot drop 1 cost characters because of Team Booba, and he cannot drop those 2 cost characters because of your perceived stress point. So he can attack, either your Demolisher gets stunned, or let's say Team Booba, he will most likely try to go after Team Booba. So now he gets stunned, and okay, you get 1 XP, 1 wound for your Team Booba. So it's your third turn, and your third turn now you get to draw 2 additional cards again. And what have we here? We have Miss America, and we have a training ground, your second training ground. So now you play training ground, and you now play Lambert. So Lambert is from the Praise team, and of course he has no autographs and quick draw. So normally you attack with him on the back row in range position. So again, you are now going after his third turn. So again, you play your yellow power symbol, okay, and now you can play and name number 3. So perceived stress point will, okay, prevent your opponent from playing 3 cost character on his turn, and at the same time prevent 1 cost characters from being played because of Team Booba, who is still very much alive. So if you can attack with Lambert to stun your opponent's character, no problem. But then again, the good thing about this, of course, is you have a very high chance of getting that third XP, okay, during his that second XP during his third round. Okay, so let's say, this is already the second XP during his third round. So you end your turn. Then he goes to his third turn. So if he cannot drop any 3 cost characters and 1 cost characters, okay, now he is settling for just having a 2 cost character being played, and that will give 1 extra recruit points that he will be, okay, not using up. So at the end of his build phase, Karnak now levels up. So now he becomes the 6 attack, 7 attack, and gains his Shatterer. So let's say you want to put him in front so that Team Booba, you can save Team Booba, or let's say prevent, okay, your Lambert from being attacked directly, then it's okay. Then now you know that, okay, this is the actual position for your particular gameplay. See? So once Karnak is able to, of course, play the Shatterer, if you have any red power symbol, it's automatically, okay, being played. So this is how the Shatterer will work. Choose an enemy player to split their deck to half, remove 1 half of them from the game face down. So let's say this is your opponent's deck. Let's try to give you a sample deck. This is your opponent's. It has 60 cards. During your last 3 turns or 2 turns, of course he will be able to draw, let's say, 9 cards plus 2 cards, that's around 11. So let's say that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so those 11 cards are already in his hand, are in play whatsoever, and he's left with this particular deck, and that is 60 cards minus 11. So bear with me, that's around 48 cards. Okay, So with 48 cards left, Shatterer now will divide that into half. Okay, so you need around 24 cards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. So it's rounded up as it says here. And this particular set of cards in his deck removed are totally out of the game. So he's now left with this thin number of cards. Okay, so now he goes to his fourth turn. Going to his third turn, he plays something. It's either this one gets stunned, your Leviathan Demolisher gets stunned, okay, then Karnak survives or whatever. Now it's time for you to go to your fourth turn. And fourth turn is you draw 2 additional cards. And let's take a look at this. So you have a Savage Leviathan and you have Fallback from the Champions team. So you have your second training ground. And this time you play Savage Leviathan. And Savage Leviathan, says here that when single Savage Leviathan appears, put a -1/-1 counter on each enemy character. So again, same as with the Demolisher, Savage Leviathan penalizes your opponent. And at the same time, it has tagging impact. So when Savage Leviathan appears, you may push a front row enemy character to its back row. So very strategic enough. But what we are really after here is, of course, we were able to draw the fallback, which is like a cancel combat, similar to Think Again. And since you have Lambert in play, he has every good team affiliation. It is legal for you to play fallback. So now it's time to shatter again. So training ground, activate the Shatterer, and last time, of course, the 24 cards in your opponent's deck, you have to deduct 2 because he drew 2 cards. Okay, let's put it here somewhere. Then he's left with just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So because he has 22 cards left in his hand, now he has only 11. All the others are removed from the game. So this time around, if your opponent tries to attack you, it's okay, but you can attack him first, then etc, etc. Then it's his fourth turn, so it will try to attack you. So when he tries to attack you, of course, now you have fallback. If not, you can accept the stun. Now it's your first or second wound. No problem with that. But then again, if Savage Leviathan goes out, it's okay. Of course, it tries to go after Lambert. That will be a problem because fallback can only work for your front row characters. But if he tries to go after Karnak, then you can play fallback. Okay, much better to use it. Besides, of course, getting that stun. Then he ends his fourth turn, and now you have to draw 2 cards, and now it's the fifth turn. So we are able to draw a new Attilan, and of course the Super Giant from the Black Order. So this is now your fifth turn, and you get to play Training Ground. If you do not have any basic red location, I'm just getting these lucky draws. You can play your Build a Better World in order for you to flip back your red in order to play Shatter again. But this is how it will work. So since you have Super Giant in your hand, you get to play Super Giant, not Miss America. Later, later in the game. Okay, so Miss America, it's advisable you play with her first. Then it's time for you to use your Training Ground to shatter again the remaining cards in his deck. So now you have, of course, he draws 2. Then, of course, you are left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there are only 5 cards left in his deck. See? Okay. Then, if you have Miss America here, you can now protect her. Protect Karnak with her, and including Lambert. And Miss America has tough, so she can survive 3 attacks before she goes down. So, good thing about here is we're nearing the end of the game. And why? Because on your 6th turn, you draw 2 cards. And you have 1 academy and 1 laboratory. So in this particular instance, this is how we're going to end the game. You play with your new Atalan, and you play with your Supergiant. And since Supergiant has mind games, so your opponent is forced to discard his entire hand. So let's say this is his entire hand. Okay, a while ago, this is his entire hand. And now, okay, he is forced to draw the remaining cards in the deck. With just 5 cards left, of course, it will be so much easier for you to finish your opponent. And remember, with just 5 cards, let's say this is the last 5 cards. Let's say what does he have? Okay, he has Cosmo, Vast, no location, whatever. So technically, you have essentially shattered his deck. So I hope you have liked this video. I'm just making it stick to you on how we did it. And so we will look at the deck components of our stress point deck, okay, in the succeeding parts of this video. So after shattering our opponent's deck, it's time to look at the components of Karnak's stress point. So let's take a look first again at our main character. So let's try to give a focus on that. So Karnak, again at level 1, is a 3 attack, 4 defense character with 4 health, 6 health, and he has perceived stress point. During the main phase, you may pay 1 yellow power symbol to choose a number 1 or higher, and any players can't recruit or play cards that cost that number until your next turn. And his level up power is to flow in all things, so level up, he needs 3 XP. At the end of each enemy player's build phase, Karnak gains 1 XP if that player didn't spend all of their recruit points. And when he goes to level 2, now he becomes a 5 attack, 7 defense character with 6 health. And the Shatterer, main phase, you may pay 1 red power symbol and choose an enemy player to split their deck in half and remove 1 half from the game face down. So very powerful superpower, enables you to totally mill or remove your opponent's library. But since again Vs2pcg doesn't have any library deck condition, all you're doing here is of course weaken your opponent's chances of being able to play his game strategy, or the strategy of his deck. So what are the components of stress point? So first we go to our supporting characters, and stress point has many supporting characters. Let's begin of course with Team Booba. So Team Booba is your perennial first drop. Besides of course having that yellow location, you need to have at least Team Booba in your hand if you want your deck to be able to of course play how perceived stress point will actually work out. So Team Booba is from the monster team, and he has 2 attack, 2 defense with 2 health, and he is the terror of the microverse. When Team Booba appears, KO all enemy supporting characters with cost 1 or less. and enemy players can't recruit characters with cost 1 or less. So again, I'd like to state again from my previous section here in this video that it's much better for you to be able to go first, because you are able to prevent your opponent from using that much needed 1 recruit point during the first round. And you have another extra set. This did not appear a while ago. You have 2 copies of Was in order for you to be able to prevent your opponents from those early attack runs, and at the same time be able to play Build a Better World plot twist during the later part of the game. So at 1 cost, Was is a 1 attack, 2 defense supporting character with 1 health, and he has she has flight and sting. So when Was appears, put a -1/-1 counter on an enemy character, and she also has shrink. So when Was gets attacked the first time each turn, you may cancel the combat. So besides that, you also have your 2 drops. This particular dude did not appear a while ago, but you have 4 copies of the Doorman. So the Doorman is from the Champions team, and he's a 2 cost, 2 attack, 4 defense character with 1 health, and he has doorway to the next room. So during the main phase, you may pay 1 blue power symbol and remove another supporting character on your side from the game, but keep all counters on it, then put it into your other row. So technically, Doorman is like removing that character, supporting character, from the game, then returning it at the same time, but in another row. So all trigger abilities will now take effect again. And since your deck, the Express Point deck, actually packs with a lot of Leviathan, most especially those Comet Fall, they are able to have it triggered again. And another set of 2 drops for you to be able to search or get your hands on your red or yellow locations are 2 copies of Kane. And Kane is from the company team, and he is a 3 attack, 1 defense character with 1 health. And he has Explore, so when Kane appears, reveal cards from the top of your deck until you reveal a basic location and put it into your hand, and shuffle the rest of the revealed cards into your deck. This deck runs 3 basic locations, but you are after, of course, the red location and the yellow location. Most especially for Karnak's perceived stress point and the Shatterer in his level 2 condition. And the first of your Leviathan Demolisher comes in last for your 2 drops. And he is a 2 attack, 3 defense character with 1 health. And it's one of a kind. You can only have 1 Leviathan Demolisher in your deck. And it's a creature, so you cannot put any equipment on it. And it has Comet Fall. So when Leviathan Demolisher appears, put a -1/-1 counter on each enemy character. And at the same time, it has Tectonic Impact. So when Leviathan Demolisher appears, turn an enemy location face down. Very strategic enough. And of course, if you can use Leviathan Demolisher early with your Doorman, you are able to put 2 sets of -1/-1 counters, and at the same time, you are able to put 2 key locations from your opponents face down, not 1. Now going to our 3rd drop, we have 3 copies of Lambert. And Lambert is from the Praise team, and he is a 3 attack, 3 cost, 5 attack, 4 defense character with 1 health, and he has range. And he has no autograph, so Lambert has every good team affiliation. This is a very powerful character trait or ability or keyword power for any deck that is running a combo, most especially those with good plot twist equipment or whatsoever. Lambert technically has all good team affiliation, so in your deck you can play let's say Fallback, you can play Think Again, and you can play Build a Better World even if you don't have those particular team affiliations out in play, but just Lambert. So Lambert is here because of this particular keyword power. And at the same time, he has quick draw, so while Lambert is range attacking, he can be struck back. So he has very powerful stats, 5 attack and 4 defense, and he has quick draw, so you normally can get to attack with him early on in the game in order to take advantage from your opponent. So if you have another 3 drop, and that will be Fang Leviathan. And Fang Leviathan is a 3 attack 4 defense, okay, Leviathan creature with 1 health, still one of a kind and creature, and he has Comet Fall. At the same time, he has sudden impact, so when Fang Leviathan appears, he may wound an enemy main character that has no wounds. Very good enough in order for you to be able to, of course, give the very first wound to your opponent, because early on in the game, you are setting it up for a defense and not an offensive state. So, can give you at least 1 wound for your opponent, and at the same time, if you're able to attack that character, of course, it gets another wound. Remember, when putting a wound on your opponent's character, it does not necessarily stun that character. So, going there. Now, we go to our 4th drop. In our 4th drop, we have 2 Super Giant. And Super Giant is from the Super Villains team of the Black Order. And she is a 3 attack, 5 defense character with 2 health. She has Black Order, but we're not really going to use that power here. Except, of course, she has Mind Games, which is more important. So when Super Giant appears, you may have a player discard their hand, then draw that many cards. So normally, Super Giant is much like your endgame, because once you are able to shatter your opponent's deck down to a few cards left, let's say 5, 4, okay, or 6 cards left, then you play Super Giant. He is forced to discard his entire hand and be able to draw just a few cards left. If you're able to shatter his deck to, let's say, 2 cards left, then that will be the worst case for him. So Super Giant is here because of that particular strategy. And another Leviathan on your team is the Savage Leviathan at 4 cost. He is a 5 attack, 4 defense character with 1 health. One of a kind creature and Comet Fall, and he also has staggering impact. So what Savage Leviathan does is when he appears, he may push a front row enemy character to its back row. So if there's, let's say, a big dude, okay, providing a great flight wall for you to attack, then you can push that character back into the back row in order for you to get your hands on your opponent's main character. And going to our 5th drop, of course, we have Miss America. I've been trying to contemplate if I'm going to use Hyperstorm or, let's say, Nova of the Champions team, but I settled for Miss America temporarily because she has the A-Force affiliation. So once that your Was, or let's say your Lambert, is out of the board, at least you can have Miss America out in play, and she can survive 3 attacks before she goes KO, and you can play your Build a Better World because of her. So at 5 cost, she is a 6 attack, 4 defense character with 3 health and flight. And mind you, she is tough. So when Miss America gets stunned, you may recover her and she still gets a wound, but then you get to, okay, play her face up again in order to give you a 3-point flight wall for your opponent to attack with. Okay? And another of your 5 drop is, of course, the 3rd Leviathan in your team. And the 4th, it is Spike Leviathan. So Spike Leviathan is a 6 attack, 6 defense character with 1 health. Still one of a kind, a creature, and with Comet Fall. And now he has disintegrating impact. So to really seal the deal for your opponent's deck's doom, this disintegrating impact, okay, lets you, okay, remove an enemy KO pile from the game when Spike Leviathan appears. So totally, you are removing everything. Okay, you are discarding his hand, you are, okay, shattering his deck, and at the same time, you are removing all cards from the KO pile from the game. So what a very horrific, okay, strategy. And for your 6th drop, you will have 2 copies of Emma Frost. And Emma Frost, I think seldom do I see Emma Frost in the deck builds of most players here in the Philippines. But Emma Frost is also like Super Giant. She's a 6 cost X-Men supporting character with a 5 attack, 6 defense stats, and 2 health with range. and she has Mind Game. So if you miss out on your Super Giant, then Emma Frost is your next end game tactic. So with Mind Games, when she appears, you may have a player character discard their hand and draw that many cards. So very, very cruel indeed. Okay? And we have another 6 cost character, and that is the Leviathan Beast. This particular Leviathan is a 6 attack, 8 defense character with 1 health. She is one of a kind creature. Okay, it has Comet Fall, and at the same time it has concussive impact. So when Leviathan Beast appears, you may daze an enemy character. So if you are out against a very big dude like Gilgamesh or let's say Sentry, you can use Leviathan Beast to be able to daze that opponent's character and be able to attack your opponent's main character directly. For our 7th drop, we have a new character from the Masters of Evil expansion, and by the way, MOE is now available at Fort Chubby Place and at the FHP Vs2pcg Philippines online store. So 7 drop Claw is from the Masters of Evil team, and he is a 10 attack 6 defense character with 1 health and range, and he has indestructible, so Claw cannot be wounded. He can be stunned, but okay, he cannot be wounded unless this particular keyword power is nullified or negated. So he will just keep on getting those stun, but then he will stay in play. So at the same time, he also has sound generation. So during the main phase, you may pay 1 blue power symbol and push a front row enemy character to its back row, and it loses and can't gain powers this turn. So similar to what Savage Leviathan can do, Claw is also a very strategic card in your deck to be able to push those very huge wall or blockers in front of you, so that you can get back to those critical characters hiding in the back row. So Claw is here because of that particular purpose. And finally, you have your other 7th drop character, and that is Dual Maw Leviathan. So with Dual Maw Leviathan, he's an 8 attack, 7 defense character with 1 health, one of a kind, a creature, and at the same time with Comet Fall, and now he has mind-blowing impact. So when Dual Maw Leviathan appears, each enemy player discards 2 cards from their hand. So let's say if your opponent is down to being shattered to 2 cards in his deck, and at the same time you play Mind Games on the 6th turn, and he's able to draw 2 remaining cards in his deck, on your 7th turn, you drop in Dual Maw Leviathan, and out goes those 2 remaining cards, forcing your opponent, of course, to concede the game. So with that very few cruel intention, we are down to our biggest character in your deck, and that is those are 2 copies of Proteus. And Proteus is an 8 drop Omega Mutant character, and he has no stats. He has 0 attack, 0 defense, and 1 health. And he's an Omega level mutant, so you can only have 1 set or 1 copy of those single name Omega level mutants in your deck. So if you have Proteus already in your deck, then you cannot have any other Omega level mutants in your particular build. So he has possession, so if Proteus would be recruited, then you may remove him from the game, and you may have him attach or possess another character in your side of the board, and he has reality warping. So the character possessed by Proteus is provided with a +10 attack, +10 defense, and range, and he also gains the superpower wherein he can pay a 1 blue power symbol in order to heal a wound from that character. So this makes your, let's say, Karnak into a whopping 15 attack, 7 defense character because of his reality warping. So now that those are your supporting characters for this particular deck, now let's see what are the plot twists included in this deck. So, we have, for our first plot twist, we have 4 copies of Think Again. And Think Again is an Avenger stamp plot twist. But then, Think Again, of course, can be played in your deck because of your Lambert. And during any combat, you may cancel the combat. So just to prevent, of course, any of your characters from being stunned and for you to be able to provide your particular setup. Then you also have 4 copies of Fallback. And Fallback is a champion stamp plot twist. And during any combat, okay, if a front row character on your side is defending, cancel the combat and you may move them to your back row. So that is an option for you. So you can play Fallback because of course you have copies of your Doorman. You also have copy of your Lambert in order to be able to play them. Okay? And at the same time, we have 4 copies of Build a Better World for you to be assured that you have a staple supply of those red and yellow power symbols to be able to play Karnak's Perceived Shatter, Perceived Stress Point, and the Shatterer. So Build a Better World is a team stamp, okay, A-Force team stamp plot twist, but you can play this because of your Lambert and of course your Miss America. And Build a Better World, okay, enables you during the main phase to turn one of your face down basic locations face up, or during any combat, turn one of your face down basic locations face up. So essentially, that will provide you an extra 4 chances of being able to play either a yellow power symbol or a red power symbol. We don't have much of an equipment in our Stress Point deck, but then we have 16 locations in order for you to be able to execute your strategy. So first of all, we have 4 copies of Academy, and Academy is of course here because you want to play or be able to play Perceived Stress Point, and for you to be able to utilize it to mill down or shatter your try to prevent your opponent from being stalled in order for him to be prevented from playing those critical supporting characters at that specific turn that you want. And of course, we have 4 copies of the Training Ground. And Training Ground is here because we want to, of course, play our Shatterer as much as possible to start shattering your opponent's deck. And of course, the Shatterer will let you remove 1/2 of your opponent's deck every time you play the Shatterer from the game. So starting to dwindle down his chances of winning in the game. And you also have 4 copies of the Laboratory, and this blue power symbol generating location is used of course for your Doorman and of course for your Proteus, because you need somehow to be able to heal Karnak, most especially if you're up against a very aggressive deck in Vs2pcg matches. And finally, our last set of locations are the wild locations for Inhumans, and these are 4 copies of New Attilan. And New Attilan, of course, is used for Karnak's Perceived Stress Point and the Shatterer solely. So, that ends our deck component. And so I would like to thank everybody for those who really watch this video. Hope you can like us, subscribe to us, and follow us on our YouTube channel. And at the same time, we would really like to see your comments on what particular new decks would you like us to build for you in our Vs2pcg Deck Forger series. And so before we go, of course, we'd like to thank all our sponsors. First of all, we'd like to thank our friends from the Vs2pcg Collective. Yay! So thank you very much to all our dearest friends at the Vs2pcg Collective. This is our international community. We'd like to thank our friends there, Mr. Joe Vitelli, Mr. Benjamin, Mr. Ben Brosin, Mr. Stan Bocota, and all the other great guys at the Vs2pcg Collective, most especially my idol, Mr. C-Stacks, and of course, Mr. Danny Privet. And at the same time, we'd also like to thank our friends at the Buildface USA. So Buildface USA is the official sponsor of our Buildface League Philippine Edition. So this is an ongoing match, and I have given you a forecast report a while ago on who will be matching up in the semifinal rounds and who will get the most probability to win and enter, of course, the final round of our BPL Philippine Edition Championship. And at the same time, we'd like to thank our other sponsors. First of all, we'd like to thank Treats for Them. So Treats for Them, that is TREATS, number 4, THEM. And we have our official website at www.treatsforthem.com, or you may download the app at the Google Play Store and start treating your friends and families. Okay, if you are an expat or an OFW, abroad, you can treat your friends and families from our overall our 250 merchants here in the Philippines. Treat them to cakes, gifts, perfume. At the same time, you can also treat them travel tickets and even Vs2pcg games. So that is Treats for Them. At the same time, we'd also like to thank our other sponsors like EcoSphere. So EcoSphere is your compact water service treatment machine, and EcoSphere is so compact and so light and so small that it can fit in your kitchen, even your kitchen sink. And EcoSphere has 4 stages of ultra purification water treatment system, and you don't need to buy anymore those very huge blue containers of water or even those gallons of water in order for you to have safe drinking water at home. So remember, you can message Newlen at her Facebook page if you want to have an EcoSphere water system in your home. And also, before we go, we also like to thank our official venue, that is Fort Chubby Place. Yay! And Fort Chubby Place, it's located at Unit 5 in Velasquez Compound, that is on the 3rd floor. Unit B, that is number 70 along Naga Road in Pulanlupa 2, Las Piñas City, Philippines. So we have an ongoing tournament every weekend, and that is most especially on a Sunday. And of course, we have our ongoing 24K Gem Duel qualifiers, wherein you will get a chance to win 24,000 pesos if you are the lucky finalist in the final event sometime in the next coming months. So it's a short let's say 2 or 3 months before we go and stage our 24K Gem Duel. At the same time, we also like to thank our other official venue up north, and that is PM Apartments. And PM Apartments is located at 24 Matalino Street in Diliman, Quezon City, Philippines. So I hope you like our video for today. And this is, of course, another one of our totally outrageous decks for Vs2pcg. And guys, of course, hope we can see you again in the next episode of Vs2pcg Deck Forger. And this is your host, Mark Iyong, and thank you very much for watching. And this is Karnak's Stress Point. See you guys!